Hey everybody, welcome back to a brief, good start, tripping over my tongue already. Welcome back to a brief on grief. Today, so as a follow-up to last video on how grief shows up for kids and teens, I wanted to follow up with today's video, as you see from the title, is just talking about the different losses that kids, young people, teens experience. So some of them, of course, are the obvious ones that us adults also experience, but I just wanted to highlight some of the ones that are unique as well. So it's interesting that I had a plan a couple weeks ago to create this video as well to go along with the other one, because kind of in divine timing, I'm having things happening in my life that's kind of adding towards that intention related to it. So going, but back it up a little bit before that little bit of story. The experiences and the losses and the upsets and the pain and the different emotions that we experience when we are young and when we're kids and when we're teens really forms our belief system. This is where things start. We start forming a perception of the world. We start we start forming a perception of the world, a perception of love, a perception of relationships and trust, how much to trust certain relationships, like friend relationships, parent-sibling relationships, when we're older and start dating, romantic relationships. We start forming our feelings of safety. That gets formed really young, but kind of our feeling, even though we're not aware of it, our feelings of safety, like how safe we feel in our friend group, how safe we feel in our family, our feeling of belonging with our family and with our friends and with the world as a whole. So many, I really believe that almost all of our beliefs start forming back then. And most importantly, our beliefs about ourselves, which is really crucial, obviously, and is greatly affected by the painful experiences and losses we feel when we're young. So, as I mentioned, divinely timed, as I was intentionally wanting to create this video right now, I've also just spent some time back in my hometown with my family. And part of that time was actually going through some old childhood and teenage belongings, toys, pictures, school things, all that stuff. And it really was bringing back some different memories. And again, through this, if you dive deeply into self-exploration and trying to heal the emotions and the things that are in your body in a big enough way, you will realize that so much of it is linked from our young years, our teenage years, our adolescent years. Like I said, it forms so many perceptions of how we look at things in the world and how we look at ourselves, most importantly. And I always thought before this that so much of this repetitive, some of the repetitive limiting beliefs that are painful to me to this day, that I'm trying to shift and heal. I thought we're always coming from an experience with friends, a very big loss experience with friends when I was 16. But what I realized when I was back home recently is it goes much earlier than that. And I really started reflecting on a period of my time, about 5 or 6 years, between like between like age 9 or 10 to like 15, 16, when there was significant loss in so many different areas of my life with so many different relationships. And I hadn't really thought in depth about that detail prior to 16 before. So again, in honoring this time in my life, honoring my young Kimberly, yeah, I wanted to speak about this today and to share a little bit more about the losses that our young people experience that we may not think about. So again, I've created a little list here, and as with my little list that I created in the last video, this is definitely not exhaustive. I think that I've gotten the key ones here, but let's just say that this is a long list and it's not all of it. So some of the things that are the most profound in our children and our young people with losses and what can occur. So again, if you remember, loss is a change or an end of any familiar pattern of being or any familiar pattern of a relationship in our lives, or any familiar routine in our lives. So anytime something ends or changes, that's a loss. But think of how prevalent that is in our lives, whether as kids or whether as older people. So these are some of the most prevalent losses that young people can experience. So pet loss, right? Huge, especially first pet loss, the loss of a grandparent, or sadly, even the loss of a parent. Parent like estrangements, maybe you're not close with a parent, or you never knew one parent, or of course the divorce of your parents. Sibling deaths, right? Or sibling health losses, either physical or emotional mental health challenges with the sibling is a big loss for the other kids in the family. Friends moving away, or they move away from their friends, right? That's another huge loss. And this was a big one that showed up for me when I started thinking about those early years for me just recently. Losing friends. So again, not other losses related to friends. So either to death, like having friends die, or having relationships end where you just don't remember why because you were young and don't remember those details. Or unfortunately, if friends are having health challenges, or suicide. Another big thing, a big loss for young people that's really important to honor is those times where they tried out for sports teams, or maybe rec events, or debate team, or wanted to be in a school play and didn't get those parts, right? Didn't get a spot on the team, didn't get those parts. Those are huge losses for young people. Doing poorly in school and having learning disabilities and challenges, and kind of feeling like they don't fit in. Here's the next one, bullying, or feeling like they don't fit in with their friend groups or at school, or feeling like kind of like the odd duck out. Losing prized possessions, especially as kids, like their toys, right? And this, again, this is another one that I became aware of and remembered again as I was digging through old stuffed animals in my mom's storage room, and I found a little teddy bear, my favorite teddy bear for many years. And I still remember that he spent like a whole season down the bank by my house. Somehow I thought he was gone forever. And then my brother ended up finding him in the spring that year. So again, losses of prized possessions can be huge for kids. Stepping, this is another big one that's very personal for me. Stepping into a parent role in a family, or some kind of supervisor role or rescuer role in a family, as doing this as a child or as a teen, either because maybe there's some health challenges with one of the parents or both of the parents in the family, or it's a single parent family, or there's challenges with money. So maybe the child or the teen starts working early to help out the family. These are huge, huge losses with lifetime impacts. Health loss. So the child or the teen having experience of losing their health. Again, what I always like to point out with health loss is, so I just had to remember if I pressed record or not, but I did. Okay. A really key point with health loss is that it doesn't just relate to our bodies, right? Of course, it disrupts the relationship we have with our bodies and the trust we have in our bodies. But, which just made me think of another loss I'm gonna add to after. Health losses, whether we're young or whether we're adults, affects every part of our life, right? It affects our ability to attend and participate in school or extracurricular activities, sports and things that we love. It can interfere with our ability to attend work. Anyway, I won't go into the adult part, but as young people, yeah, not able to interact with our friends in the same way. Maybe we're missing school, or we're missing like birthday parties and other events. And it definitely starts affecting how we feel about our bodies, and maybe our self-image too, especially if there's any like obvious deformities or changes to the way we walk or function. Again, that's going to affect how we feel safe in our friend group, how we feel that we fit in and feel normal. Health loss is huge. Another big loss for young people is if there's close adults, so whether it's grandparents or parents or friends or siblings that are experiencing a loss of any kind, right? I talked about health loss, but also say like again, related to grandparent loss, right? So the child is not, the child or the young person is not only losing a grandparent, but they're very likely their relationship with their parent may change because that's the parent's mother or father, right? Again, or there's an uncle that's lost, and again, that could be a parent's brother or sister. Sorry, uncle, uncle or aunt. That could be a parent's brother or sister. So again, those when close people to the child, either friends or adults or anything like that, experience losses that are really like shaking for that person, that affects the relationship with the young person. So always losses that are happening with people close to us are losses for us as well. The other one that popped up for me with health loss, which is a huge one for girls, which I did not recognize for so many years, is puberty. Again, it's probably for boys too, but specifically, no, I'm going to say both. I'm going to speak to girls, of course, because that's more resonates more with me, but having our first period, and especially if it's really painful and uncomfortable, and it always affects it always changes our body, and it affects kind of our routines and the things we have to do, that kind of changes the relationship we have with our body. With boys, when their voices start changing and maybe they start getting hair, that can affect their kind of their image, how secure and comfortable they feel, depending on how the changes in their body, how that's correlating with their friends or the other people in their group, whether it's happening first for them or last for them or looks different for their friends. Again, with changes of voice with boys, they get uncomfortable because they don't know when their voice is gonna like crack or how it's gonna sound when they start talking. So that can affect a lot. So puberty is a huge, yes, it's a change, of course, with some positive things leading to growth and stuff in our bodies. But again, because it's a change, it's a loss. So that's my list. And again, not exhaustive, but still huge. So as you can see, like, losses are so prevalent in all of us. And I will say it again, we are almost experiencing an emotional loss of one or more kinds almost every single day, which means we are grieving every single day. I've said that before as adults, but I realize as I ground more deeply into the experiences of children and kids and young people, they're experiencing loss every single day too. And just because in our culture, again, this is part of my passion, is realizing that loss is so much more prevalent than we talk about often. Loss is much more than death, right? So when we're like limiting our loss or our losses to kind of death, to important people, to divorces and ends of relationships, we can often not associate that with young people, but it is so huge. Oh my God, I can't even believe I didn't put this on here, but losses of like first loves and first dating experiences, maybe first like sexual experiences. These are all also losses that our young people can experience and go through. So again, the more I think about it, the more that are going to come up. But for this video, that's that. I may create some more videos related to teens and young people, because it's really something it's growing a passion in me more in the last year or so. And again, I'm excited to be running this group called Helping Children and Teens with Loss. So again, it's a group for adults, parents, family members, teachers, coaches, to come and learn healthier ways of grieving, healthier ways of noticing grief and loss in our young people, of supporting them and helping kind of vocalize and give words to some of the emotions they might be feeling so they can process and complete any losses in their lives. So that's starting in March and running again in April. So if you want more information, just check out my website. And that's that for now. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.